Hello, this is Dr. Jason Munsell. This is the last online lecture you're going to get from me, and I do hope that you actually watch it. We'll see. I noticed that only 4 of you downloaded the previous one on motivational appeals. I motivated you, didn't I? This is going to be on chapter 12. I'm going to focus just on political stuff. I'll say a few big picture things. But I hope, since this is your last thing, we've been together for 8 weeks, minus the middle. There we go. Middle. Little break we had. Hope that you have enjoyed the class, such as it is with the online nature of it. Hope that you've learned something about persuasion. I think that's an important thing when you take a class in college, is that you learn something, which is why I had the last thread being the big takeaway. So, last week, which means last thread, if you haven't done it already, a lot of you have, last tweet, last blog, and I've been trying to keep up with all that stuff, and I'll be looking at it over the course of the next few days. If you are a senior, I've already been in touch with you. 2 of you are graduating, Rachel and JR. Congratulations, well done. Already got Rachel's paper. Good job, Rachel. But those grades are due tomorrow, and for the rest of you, you have until the end of the week. I forgot what I said. End show. For you to turn in that, for you to do everything and to turn in that the second paper. And by the way, if you did not know, graduation is this Saturday for those of you who are graduating. And if not, you can come watch people graduate. It's always fun. Oh, it's taking this good, sweet time to load here. I wanted to be brief. Come on. Well, in any case, it's due. My grades are due Tuesday, I believe. That is for those folks who are not graduating. And so I do believe I say try to get everything to me as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. What do I say? I can't remember. And I'm still happy to look at roughs. Palmer, I'll get to yours today. The very last week, so paper due by Friday, August 5th, 5 p.m. So by the end of the week, that way I have the weekend to read them and try to give you a little bit of feedback. Though, if I know you, you probably won't look at my feedback. But in any case, I know everybody has summer brain, and then a mini break, and then we start classes again, like the 31st, something like that. I don't remember. Golly, it's crazy. In any case, okay, so you know this is the last week and stuff is due. That being said, go back to the PowerPoint here. Let's start a movement, but just on the stuff about political communication, sort of, kind of. Definition of of campaigns and persuasive movements, just generally, because there's lots of different types of social movements, persuasive movements, what have you. Oh, by the way, as always, read the preface of the chapter. Define persuasive campaigns and movements. Yes. Identify the relationship between media and campaigns and movements. Yes. Discuss ways of using verbal and visual symbols. I'll let you read that. Understand how political candidates manage. Yeah, we'll do that. Describe the various types of. I'll let you do that. A campaign, top of page 322, is an organized and coordinated series of persuasive messages designed to achieve public acceptance of a person, idea, or product. Yeah, that's what a campaign is. Persuasive movements are struggles on behalf of a cause or group whose core organization's mode of action and or guiding ideas are not fully legitimated by the larger society. Key differences: campaigns exist for a period of time, then are finished. Persuasive movements maybe exist forever. Campaigns are generally accepted modes of persuasion, while movements using modes of persuasion that are not always accepted by the larger society, like protests and stuff like that. Campaigns center on a specific person, idea, Trump, Clinton. Persuasive movements exist for a cause. So, and sometimes they blur into one another, but just so you know what those things are. Now here's the really important stuff. remember, the reason why I picked this book, the reason why we're doing this, well, we need to understand persuasion within our context of the media society. And so, or the media age. So, that stuff on page 322, when it says media and persuasive campaigns and movements, very important. So what does this stuff do? Well, news media in particular makes us aware of various movements and campaigns. We learn about them through the news media, and they want to, it's part of agenda setting, what's important, what's not important, and how they actually cover them. So we become aware of these things, Black Lives Matter, whatever, through news in all its various manifestations. Second, media allows persuaders to take their message directly to the population through websites, through Twitter, through all the stuff that you're doing, through advertisement. So they bring it to you, the viewer, the consumer, whatever. It can be very personalized and very targeted. Lots of stories, lots of emotion, lots of repetition, lots of identification. And of course, a lot of the news that we receive is filtered. But the third thing, public deliberation is expanded when media allow an increasing number of persuasive campaigns and movements to emerge and influence the public's agenda. I say sort of because, yes, in a way, but it depends on what you mean by public deliberation. Do we really deliberate? I mean, think about it. Think about all the stuff on Facebook regarding the various conventions that we just saw. People defriend one another, blah, 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 which is stupid. And so oftentimes, I mean, the research says that we tend to through social media, connect to those people who already agree with us. We watch, the news that already agrees with us. But maybe, I don't know. There's lots of fragmentation, as it says, blah, 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 blah. And then fourth, media frame our perceptions of persuasive campaigns of movements. What do we think about Trump? What do we think about Clinton? What do we think about Black Lives Matter? All that stuff is framed through the specific way people, hey, Finnegan, they're all on the bike. Look, a bike, bicycle, Finn, look. He's just looking at me. Oh, fine, he can say. We got to go to the doctor this afternoon, to the vet. Finn's not doing very well. This might be his last lecture. I don't know. We'll see. He lasted the semester, or the summer, I think. Looks like that, actually. Frame our perception. So how we see things, because, again, how media and the news sort of frame certain things, it leads, it bleeds, and all that type of stuff. It gives us a certain worldview, all that type of stuff. And then finally, it creates cultures that foster campaigns and movements. It talks about rock and roll. Tea Party emerges as a reaction to President Obama's election and all that type of stuff. So, but it's really important that we understand that campaigns exist within the context, campaigns and persuasive movements exist within the context of new media. And just like all the stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the summer, and how media impacts how we see the world, same thing here. Now I'm going to skip the stuff on verbal and visual, some of that stuff we've talked about, except songs, which is really, really cool. But again, if you care about your education, you should be reading this stuff. There the bicyclist again, Finn. Look at him. See? The bicycle. Bicyclist, the kids on bicycles. Okay. Visual images, we talked about images. I'll let you sort of look at that again. Now, and visual image events, blah, 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 blah. There is a little bit of political stuff in here, but I'm going to start on political campaigns. We're in a new age, if you can see that. Things have changed. We live in the media age. Yeah. In short, this is what I'm going to pick what I think are some of the more important things. And parties have played less role than the general public. Notice how that's going on with Trump. A lot of party folks. In short, candidates, this is on the bottom of the first paragraph in that section of political campaigns. Betcha, man. Candidates today take their messages and ideas directly to the public, and they do so primarily through media, through Twitter. Trump loves Twitter, so does Hillary. Internet stuff, though, their websites are pain, because you have to go through. They always want money, 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 money. And I get these texts from they want money, 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 money. People call me money, 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 money. I don't have money. But you know, it's the age has created really media age, and the way campaigns are done is quite a bit different. Okay, but not altogether. Covering politics, news as melodrama. News loves the drama. I love how the research from Hoven identifies 4 aspects of television news that make similar to melodrama: dramatic conflict, simple and familiar plots, simple and predictable character development, eye-catching visuals. This guy and his research, or this woman, said that they found more elements of the melodrama in news about politics than in Days of Our Lives, the soap opera. They love the melodrama. They love the conflict. They love the simple, familiar plot. Blah blah blah. Nothing is complex anymore. Everything has to be, well, it is complex. It's complicated when people try to make things simple, but it's not simple. So what we see here is political news that's conflict oriented. Have we seen that? Ooh, you betcha. You betcha. And visual. Yeah. And profit oriented. It's all about money, 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 money. So that's part of it. It sort of frames the whole political campaign as a melodrama. It's theater. It really isn't. But we think it is. Sort of kind of. Campaign as a horse race. It's all about who's winning, polls. You might have seen that Clinton is ahead now. She got a convention bounce, blah, blah, blah. So it's all about who stands where, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the problem with that, as many would argue. They focus on the horse race. Who's winning? Who's losing? Not what do they stand for? What are their stances on the issues? Hardly, I mean, we do get some of that stuff, but it's a lot of the stuff is who's winning in the polls, who's going to win, who's winning in the swing states, blah, 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 blah. So I'll let you look at that, but he said, this Patterson has some research here. As a result, the public holds a cynical view toward politics. Yeah, Patterson contends that most politicians keep their premises once they are elected, blah, blah, blah. We ignore that. But basically, the type of coverage requires speculation on the part of so-called political experts, blah, 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 blah. Prevents learning where the candidate's policy stands. That's sort of the thing. So, alternative voting methods. I love that. You should do that just for kicks and giggles on page 332. News as interpretation. Obviously, different news organizations interpret things differently. They all put their own spin on things. They set the agenda. Because more time is taken by media sources, there's less time to hear the voices of the candidates. What we do here is a soundbite, a short excerpt that the narratives of the journalists are increasingly negative. So journalists focus on the mistakes made by the candidates. So-called media narcissism, the public becomes even more alienated from the political system. So, just here is context maybe, but listen to what they have to say. Here are the policies that are set up. Here are the consequences. Okay. So